Business coach, and I am super excited to be here with you today for the Divinely Driven Results live show, where we are going to implement real strategies that are divinely driven so that you can achieve those goals that God has placed on your heart. So let's talk all about sales funnels, because this is one of the basics of business that we need to understand in order to be able to grow it. We can't just throw it at the wall and see if it sticks, as some of our plans are, right? And one word that's really been on my mind a lot lately for at least the next 90 days, if not the whole year or even my lifetime, is the word strategy. So it is so important that we have a strategy, and that is exactly what we're going to be talking about here today, is how can you have a strategy to be able to grow your business consistently? We want to be able to know how we can tap into that sales funnel and really bring those sales in. So if you guys are watching this live, I want you to drop a 1 or say hi. And if you're watching it as a replay, I want you to drop a 2 so we know who is on here today. All right, so you may be asking yourself, what is a sales funnel, right? Or do I need a sales funnel in my business? How do I build that sales funnel? Do I need some kind of fancy software to build my sales funnel? Because holy cow, there are so many different softwares and programs and systems and all of that out there. It's funny that the shorter time that you're in business, you're like, where are the opportunities? Where are those systems? And then the longer time you're in business, you're like, okay, there's too many options. I just need to stick with something. Great to see you as well. Thanks so much for joining. And then how long does it take to build a sales funnel? And what should my sales funnel look like? So we're going to talk about all these things here today in the terms of looking them through the lens of the Bible. So in simple terms, a sales funnel is the process of moving a person from a lead to a prospect to a customer. That's it, really just simple terms. And you know, everyone thinks about the funnel, right? Y'all all think about like that old plastic funnel that your parents had. That's what I think about every time I think about a funnel. Morning. Is that you're going to have a lot of people come in as a lead, right? That doesn't mean they're qualified. And then it's going to get a smaller amount as you identify prospects that are actually qualified. And then it's going to be even smaller when you get to that point where you're actually bringing on clients and customers. And so I just want you to think about that in terms of those 3 simple things, right? Is that it's going to be a lead to a prospect to a customer. Really, really simple. There's a lot of different ways. There's the Adair method and lots of different ways that you can think about a sales funnel. And we'll go into the more details of what that looks like. But if you just think about it in those 3 terms of a prospect to a lead to a customer, a lead to a prospect to a customer, that's going to help you for sure. All right. So I want you to drop in the comments here below, what is the key to your sales funnel right now? Or do you not have one? Let's talk about that here in the comments for sure. Okay. So the thing is so many times, and especially when we first start business, we throw that spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks. And maybe you post over in this group for a little bit, or you do a few offer posts over here, or you send out a few messages. But the thing is, it has to be replicatable. We can't forecast our revenue in our business if we can't replicate it, right? And we can't repeat that process over and over again. And so I want you guys to focus on a sales system. I want you to focus on that funnel, because that way, you know, if you're going to put people in the top, that on average, you're going to be able to get this many people that come out of the bottom, right? So we have to have that strategy. So remember that God is a God of order. So let's go to our biblical success principle here today, which is found in 1 Corinthians 14:40. And it says, let all things be done decently and in order. Now, I love diving into the scriptures here, and especially because I use the King James Version of the Bible, because I feel like that is, you know, there's a lot of different types of versions out there, but that's the one that really speaks to me. And I think words are so, so important, and I'm kind of a word geek. So I look up the word decently, and this is so fascinating, guys. In dictionary.com, it says, conformed to the recognized standard. That's what decently means, conformed to the recognized standard. Now, let's put that in business terms. Why not use tried and true sales funnels that have helped Fortune 500 companies grow? Right? So if you look at that scripture, let all things, including your sales process, including anything that you're doing in business, right, be done decently. Let's not recreate the wheel here, guys. Let's do it decently, as in something that's already been proven. And that's exactly what a sales funnel is. I mean, there are companies all over the world that are having success with that sales funnel, with that same concept of lead to prospect to customer, right? Now let's take that second part, in order. Order takes away the chaos, right? Order takes away the chaos. So if you feel like you have chaos in your business right now, then maybe you need to have a little bit more order. And that can be really interesting. Take that to the Lord and see, okay, what areas maybe do I need to have a strategy or order in? Because order gives you the same steps to do over and over and over again. It's really interesting is that we always want to connect with people when we're doing, heart-centered prospecting, which you'll learn more in the Divine Cash Challenge that's coming up. But the thing is that so many times people get frustrated with their messaging or their prospecting process because they're just gut checking it, right? They're just going with the flow of the conversation. And yes, you should definitely customize it and make it personal for each person, but you got to have the same types of questions that you ask everyone so you can qualify them so that you can get to know everyone in kind of that same way and you can lead the conversation. It's the same way with your sales funnel, because we can better measure what's working and what's not working if we're doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? So I want you to drop a number here in the comments below. On a scale of 1 to 10, how solid are you feeling like your sales process is? Do you feel like 10 is like, yes, I've got my sales process, my sales funnel, I've got all of that, like so perfect, and it's a well-oiled machine and customers are coming in and it's awesome? Or maybe you're at the one side of the scale and it's like, I barely even know what a sales funnel is, or whatever that may be. I want you guys to be honest with yourself and vulnerable for a second, because I want to understand. Thanks so much for dropping that in 2. We've got a 2 so far. We want to understand where we're at, because I'll be honest, just even a few years ago, I didn't even know what a sales funnel was. I was sitting in a workshop and I was like, this is amazing. This is the key I've been waiting for, right? Because we know that it's working for other companies, so we need to do that for ourselves. So if you wing it, it's hard to measure the results, right? That's why we do decently and in order. So just like God asks us to do, what can you do in your sales funnel, or really any part of your business, to do things more decently so that we're really not just recreating the wheel, right? And in order, and having those same steps you follow every time. So it doesn't matter if you sell a product or a service or even what your price point is, you could use a sales funnel. And so let's dive into what that really looks like, right? So first off, we need to be seen. We need to be able to be known. So this could be a social media post. This could be friending people who virtually hang out where your divine client hangs out, right? This could be even a paper flyer if you want to go old school, or a billboard, whatever that may be. But it's got to start with awareness. We have to be seen. We have to get that awareness out there, because honestly, you can't expect to reach anyone if you put that barrel over your light, right? Think about that scripture. There's a reason why we need to remove that barrel from that light, because we have to be seen in order to have our light be shown, right? So second is, remember the difference between marketing and sales. The difference between marketing and sales is a call to action, right? You can have something posted on Facebook and it looks really awesome, and it's like, I do this, and then there's no call to action. That's just marketing. But if you say, I do this and I'd love to help you do the same, so book a consult with me today, that becomes sales. That is where you have that call to action. And so it's great if you're posting value all the time, which we love. We want to serve everyone, and we want to make sure that that is always our top priority, is WIFT, what's in it for them, right? But if you never post an offer, they won't know how to work with you. They won't know how to take that next step, or they won't even be prompted to take that next step if we're not asking them. So really, really important. And it's the same with the conversations that we're having, is that if we are having amazing conversations in Messenger or Instagram DM or whatever that is that you use, or even a networking event, and we just kind of allude to what we do, hoping that they'll ask us, people want to be led. And so really important that once we get that awareness, right, we go to that networking event, we post on social media about our offer, we contact in Messenger, that we need to lead them to our offer. We need to actually say, awesome, well, it sounds like you could really use my free da-da-da-da-da-da that's going to help you do da-da-da-da-da-da, right? So really, really important is that we rarely get the client or customer that comes to us automatically. We need to actually sow before we reap. And this stage is also going to help to qualify them before we offer them something, right? We want to make sure that they really are our divine client, because here's a really important message in your sales funnel. You are not meant to serve everyone. And that is absolutely okay. In fact, that's more than okay, because when you really serve your divine client, you really get to use those gifts and those experiences and everything that God has given you to serve them specifically, to give them that customized experience. Because if you're a jack of all trades and a master of none, how can you really serve them best? And so that's the thing, is that during that conversation, we want to identify, is this person my divine client? And you'll learn more about that in the Divine Cash Challenge that's coming up here in June, that we'll tell you all about here in just a moment. But make sure that you're identifying them. You're turning that person from a lead to a prospect with qualification, right? Asking questions. If you want to know something, think about ways you can ask for that. Think about 5 words you would use to describe your divine client. In fact, I want to see, what is one word that you would use to describe your divine client? What's really important to you? And you can tell in my company name, Divinely Driven Results, that I want someone who's driven. I want a woman entrepreneur who is divine, right? Who believes in God, who's driven to succeed, who wants those results. That's where my company name came from, is thinking about those 5 words that were so important to me to find in my divine client. Well, if I want to know if someone's driven, one of the best questions I can ask is, tell me about a goal that you're super excited about. Now, not saying that if you don't set a goal, you're not driven, but most likely you're more driven if you set goals. So if they tell me about their goal, then I'm like, check. Or they tell me what they're doing to achieve their goal or working towards achieving their goal, I know that they're driven. Now, if they say, I kind of go where the wind blows me and I don't really care, it's like, maybe not so much my divine client. Like, I'll still welcome you into the group, or, maybe give you a freemium, but I'm not going to put a lot of energy into that, because you're a lead, not a prospect, right? That's the difference. Is a lead is someone who's just seen you. That's the awareness piece of the funnel. The prospect part comes when you actually qualify them. Awesome. Loves to cook or needs help in the kitchen. Love it. Love it. Good morning. Awesome. You guys are so great. Love the interaction. Keep it coming. Okay. So hopefully this is making a lot of sense of understanding between that lead to the prospect stage is all about qualification. Make sure that this prospect actually is your divine client. Okay. So we need that awareness and we need the call to action, right? But what kind of call to action do you have? This is one of the most important things about your sales funnel, is that you've got to have something to offer them. And there's lots of different things that you can offer them. You don't want to try and sell your product or service right over Messenger or right on that very first call, because you want to warm up that conversation, right? It's not like you'd go up to someone who is atheist and say, you want to believe in God because of this, this, and this. You want to join my church? right? Like, it doesn't work that way. You need to build a friendship with them. You need to understand what their needs are and what they're looking for before you can even try to convert them, right? Love the difference between lead and prospect. Awesome. You guys are doing awesome. Okay. So what's your call to action? Let's see it in the comments. What is your offer that you have? What is your freemium? What is your free offer? It could be an introduction call. It could be a strategy session. It could be your own Facebook group. Your Facebook group is one of your best freemiums that you can give, because not only does it create kind of that drip campaign concept, which we'll talk about here in just a second, but it's more seen than an email, right? And they're part of that community. Just remember that you're always selling from one stage of your sales process to another. We think that we need to have those benefits and all of that lined up before we sell our actual product or service, but you need to have some benefits every step of the way that you're leading them through that process. So if you're going to offer a freemium or your Facebook group as your freemium, make sure that you give them a few benefits to them. Remember, WIFT, what's in it for them, so that they can see why they want to take that next step with you. So super, super important. I have it all start with an PDF to give away as my freemium. Yes, PDFs are awesome because we want to be able to make it easy for ourselves, right? Like if you are giving your time away as a freemium, that's not as effective. In the beginning, it might be perfect to get you used to it and to really get on the phone with as many people as possible, but that can be really draining. A PDF though, a tip sheet, a calendar, all those different types of freemiums. I mean, there's tons out there. Just look at what everybody else is doing in your industry and you'll get some ideas. And I have a whole training on freemiums as well. But that, if you can just send it out electronically through like an autoresponder, that's going to be perfect. So you are on the right track, my friend. Love it, love it. Okay. Then once you've gotten them to take that next step with you, you will offer them a loss leader. Now, a loss leader is optional. This is just another piece of the sales funnel to think about. And that is really, it's something of great value that they would pay for that's typically under $100. Most people can afford something under $100. And you'll see this all over Facebook ads, right? Is that it's like, buy my, amazing widget thingy majobber, maybe a Trello board or a mini course or all these different types of things that is only $27 or $37. For some reason, 27 and 37 and 47 are super hot right now. I have no idea why, but typically under $100 is what people can afford. And your loss leader is really important because it's going to show who is willing to pay you for your product or your service. And that's really important because you're going to have, remember how we have a lot of people up here, a little less people right here, and then way less people right here, which is, that's how it's designed to do. You're going to have a lot of people who are going to like your freemium, right? And then those people who are actually willing to pay for something, that's going to be a smaller group of people. But that's okay. You know that they're more dedicated. The person who buys from you, even less than $100, even that loss leader, is way more likely to actually buy your product or service. And that's why a loss leader is so important. And it's called a loss leader because you're giving something of value that is worth way more than that. So I usually kind of depends on the sale that I have going on, but my Business Meetings with God mini course is usually around $27, and that is worth well over $150 value. So technically I'm losing money on that because I could sell it for a lot more. But the fact is that sometimes I get clients just from being able to sell that at a lower rate, or I'm able to serve those people who maybe can't afford to work with me, or they have other circumstances. So I think a loss leader is an incredible idea. And you can actually take a freemium that you have, like a PDF, just like you were talking about here, and actually transform that into a loss leader by just adding a few videos onto it and making it a mini course. Or you can create a Trello board or some kind of Excel spreadsheet. There's different ways that you can actually turn your freemium into a loss leader. So yes, you guys are doing awesome. Keep up that interaction here. Do you have a loss leader? And if so, what is it? Please put it in the comments. Okay, so Now we have awareness, right? We have a call to action, we have the freemium, we have the loss leader. That's all taking us down to that customer, right? That person that we're just priming that person up to be able to get that product or service. So the next step is your sales offer, and that's usually on a phone call. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a tip here that I found in my industry, is that if you are going to sell something that's under $500, so $500 or less, you can usually sell that online. Like that can be, it doesn't have to be a sales call, although I would recommend a sales call, even if your product is $10 sometimes, just kind of depending on what that looks like, because one, you can always upsell them, and two, you can customize what their needs are to the product or service that you have. So always try and get them on a sales call. But if you want to just put it on your website, under $500 or under is usually where people won't have to be on a sales call to be able to actually buy from you, to feel comfortable in doing so. But anything over that, you absolutely want to get them on a sales call, because you can help them to overcome some of those blocks that may come up. And this whole month we're focused on sales, so you're going to get objections training and all that coming up. You're going to just absolutely love the month of May here in Faithful Ladypreneurs. But people need a little bit of time and attention to make a bigger decision with money. And so make sure that you're giving that, but that there's urgency around that too. And I can go on and on and on about sales calls, but we're going to leave it at that just because we're focusing on our sales funnel here today. And then there's the ongoing communication, or a drip campaign. And whether they buy from you or not, we want you to stay in touch with them. And this can be done through an email autoresponder, right? Or Messenger, right? Maybe put that on your calendar to check in with them at least once a month. Don't you hate it when you don't buy from someone and they just drop you like cold turkey? Like it's just, or like a hot potato. You're just like, okay, well, I guess I didn't really mean that much to you if you're just like, I'm done with you, right? You're dead to me, right? We don't want that. We don't want that at all. So stay in touch with those people, even if they don't buy from you, or especially if they buy from you, right? So make sure that you have a system to stay in touch with people. You can use a CRM, a customer relationship management tool. You can use a Trello board. You can use, there's like things like ClickUp and other task management software. You can put it in your phone, on your calendar, whatever that looks like, but stay in touch with people, because that's where it comes from, is that relationship. We want to be able to serve others with the talents and gifts that God's given us. That's why we've been called to this business, right? So stay in touch with them, whether they buy from you or not, because you never know when your name is going to pop up at just the exact time that they're ready to buy. And doesn't it just kill you when you don't stay in touch with someone and they buy from somebody else because they completely forgot that they talked to you a year ago? I'm like, and that's our fault because we didn't stay top of mind, right? Okay, so now you know what a sales funnel is. Let's go through that one more time. So the basics of it is moving them from a lead to a prospect to a customer. And you do that with awareness at the lead stage. Prospect is that you're going to actually qualify them, make sure that they're your divine client. And then from prospect, we're going to lead them into the customer stage with our freemium and our loss leader, and sometimes our drip campaign and our sales calls, right? And that's how we're going to get them into our customer loop. And so really important to have a sales funnel, or have a process that you can bring people through. And you might have multiple sales funnels, and that's awesome. That's great. You might have multiple freemiums that take them kind of down different paths. But the thing is that at least have one, and make sure that you are doing the same thing most of the time. That way you can actually measure the results. And what we measure actually improves. So make sure you are doing that sales process, that sales funnel. Now, I know that this can seem a little overwhelming, right? Is that it's like, okay, I just gave you the basics of a sales funnel. And if you've never heard this before, or you don't know how to do this for your business, that's okay. I would love to hop on a phone call with you and talk about your sales funnel. There is a really quick and easy sales funnel that I teach my clients that can have a huge huge impact in your business that you can implement even without an email autoresponder. So please contact me for more details. I'd love to get on the phone with you and talk about how we can do that. But what I really want to talk to you about is that the biggest thing that holds us back, I think, in our sales funnel and our sales process is contacting people. We are not in business if we don't contact people. And so we are just here at Divinely Driven Results. We are so thrilled to be doing another Divine Cash Challenge workshop. That is going to be May 31st. Is that the date? Let me double check. Yes, 31st. I always get confused between 30th and 31st. May 31st through June 9th. This is 10 amazing days of really understanding how to reach out to your prospects. How do you turn them from a lead to a prospect in that sales funnel that we were just talking about? We're going to tell you exactly what to say. We're going to tell you how to make it from your heart, right? Build real connections with people so that you can understand what their needs are to be able to show them how your product or service is the perfect fit. Guys, through this Divine Cash Challenge workshop, because it's a challenge, you're going to take your sales numbers and your prospect numbers way up, because we're going to push you out of your comfort zone. Get ready to work that week because it's going to be so much fun. You're going to have an incredible community of support all around you, and you're going to work. We're going to push you out of your comfort zone in talking to people because we're going to give you the tools to succeed. And it's all going to be based around biblical success principles. So you know that God is with you every step of the way, and we're going to give you a tool to be able to make sure that He is. So come join us. Make sure that you get registered here at divinelydrivenresults.com/Divine Cash Challenge. I'll put that in the comments here below so that you can get registered. And guys, we have an incredible opportunity here in the next 2 weeks. So when you get registered between now and, let's see, when does that end here? The end of day on the 15th, you not only get your amazing ticket to the Divine Cash Challenge that is happening right here in the Faithful Ladypreneurs Facebook group, but in addition to that, when you get registered and you attend 4 out of the 9 days, we say 10 because Sunday we don't actually meet. So 4 out of the 9 days and replays even count, you guys will get my Business Meetings with God mini course for free. There's no drawing. It's every single person who registers and attends 4 out of the 9 days, even replays, that you guys will get that Business Meetings with God mini course that has changed my clients' lives to have a strong agenda to focus their business and that divine guidance into their business to help their clients and find those people who God wants you to serve. So super excited about it. And guess what? Tell your friends about this as well. Share this link with them that we're going to share with you here in the comments, and they'll get that too. Is that they'll get that their Business Meetings with God mini course when they register by the end of day on the 15th, and come to 4 out of the 9 days. So thank you so much for joining in this incredible live show. I hope that it started to put some pieces here together for you. Cannot wait to see you at the Divine Cash Challenge, where we're going to help you to increase your leads and your sales organically in a really fun and amazing way. So thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.